always dreamed big, so I want to end up big. Yeah, though I'm studying in this health pathway, I think I'm definitely gonna end up in business, going into business like my dad did towards the end of
Hey, this is the All of You podcast, the podcast where we sit down with all of you. And today we are extending the olive branch to a past student of mine, Royce. What's up, Royce?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Welcome to the All of You podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Been looking forward to this.
I know that this has actually been something that we originally talked about a while ago.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I taught you in your first semester of your studies at Fanshawe College. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And do you remember one of our initial conversations with each other?
Yeah, I remember we talked about navigating my life as a student and how hard everything has been from inception and professional developments and everything that has to do with me as a student here in Canada. And we said a lot of things.
You've always been in the back of my mind. I think it's hard as a professor because every 4 months a new group of students comes into my life, and there are a couple from every cohort that stand out to me, and you would be one of those ones that stood out to me. How many semesters ago was this? 3 semesters ago?
3 semesters ago.
Holy smokes! So you're not a baby bird anymore. You're a full-grown bird, and you're gearing up. You're in your final semester.
Yeah, final semester, and I have my wings all spread out now, ready to fly.
Spread. Well, tell me. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So you didn't just appear here in Ontario, Canada. Our paths, it's incredible that our paths have been able to cross. I'd like to know a little bit about the inspiration behind your decision to come to Canada. How did you wind up at Fanshawe College in London, Ontario, to allow for us to have this Kismet meeting together?
Okay, it's been a pretty long journey for me. So before I came to Canada, I was already applying to some other countries like the US and Germany. But
did you have a preference, like US, Germany, Canada? Where were you leaning?
I wasn't really sure, but anyone that comes my way, I would grab it. So finally, I came into Canada as a student. But before then, I think I seek for a visa to come into Canada with a working permit. But I was using an agent then, but everything seemed to be rough, and I didn't understand what was going on at some point, and I had to move along. I have to move ahead. So
what was your previous experience before coming to Canada? Because I think in order to get into the program that you got into, you had to have some previous experience or previous education. Yeah.
My previous education, I have my first degree in science laboratory technology.
Yes, and I remember this, science lab technology. Okay.
Yeah, my second degree is in microbiology.
Smart man. Holy doodle. Okay.
So I've been, treading upon this part of the healthcare. I don't even know why I'm studying in the healthcare. I'm kind of a weird person. So I see myself
I don't
studying
think you're a weird person. You sound a lot like me.
Yeah, in the health sector, and coming here, I think maybe I shouldn't change, in that pathway. So that I said, let me continue in that field of health. So I seek for admission in the healthcare administration management here at Fanshawe, and I got it at once. So it has been a whole journey for me. It was inspired by my quest for success and exploring new things, new stuffs. And
can I ask you a question about success?
Okay, go ahead.
What does success look like for you? Like for Royce, what is the definition of success? What does that mean to you?
Okay, for me, I don't really have so much definition for things most times. Success for me is typically happiness. It's typically your space, because I love my space. When I have my space all by myself, is success for me, because I don't like to be put in a box. So anytime I see that I don't recognize myself, that is not success. So success is me being able to recognize myself at every given point in time, and happiness. That's success for me. Let's keep money aside, because along the way, money, seems to, blind us in so many ways. So success is happiness for Royce.
That's really beautiful that you said that. And, it's funny that you said that success doesn't have anything to do with money, because they say that there's a certain threshold of finances where they say if you make any more than $90,000 a year, your happiness does not improve. And then you hear of all of these billionaires on the planet who are getting divorces. And so it's like money at the end of the day really doesn't have anything to do with success. I think money allows for us to have experiences, and money allows for us to, have resources, but the happiness at the core of who we are, I think is really being true
the
to
happiness,
ourselves.
like I said, that is the basic for me. That's the fun. That is what it has to be, for me to define myself or see myself as a successful person. I know I'm pursuing money, but that aside,
we're all pursuing money in some way. So when you think about the characteristics or the qualities about yourself, being able to identify when you alluded to like losing yourself, or when you don't feel like you're, tapped into yourself, what does that look like? What does that look like when you feel like you're not in tune with yourself?
It's a strange and weird feeling, because I could remember my first time in Canada, I got lost. I couldn't recognize myself, and everything was happening so fast.
Not physically lost, like in the community,
in
but
the community,
like lost.
I could remember one day I was walking up to 1 hour, trying to locate my house. That was my first 5 weeks in London, and I was like, my apartment that I was living then, I couldn't find it.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I don't usually navigate with maps, and I was like looking for this, apartment for like 1 hour, So I had to learn the hard way.
How did you end up finding it?
I had to. It is what it is. So along the way, I found my way. So
you found your way. Oh, did you have to ask somebody?
I never did, because most times I usually don't often ask questions.
Well, is that a pride thing?
Yeah.
An ego thing?
Yeah.
You're like, I can figure it out. I can figure it out.
I try to figure things out on my own. Yeah.
That's really funny, because I get lost all the time, but I'm not afraid to ask. If I'm lost, I'm like, I'm going to waste too much time trying to figure this out on my own.
Okay.
But I remember moving to Toronto, kind of a similar thing to you. Like when I moved to Toronto, coming up from the subway, not knowing east, west, north, south, and getting lost a few times when I was living in a new city too. So I think I can
relate to that.
Resonate with your feelings about that. What about friends? Talk to me about what it was like to make a friend group or a posse or a clique or whatever you want to call it. Like, what was that like coming here and establishing yourself? Did you know anybody here before you came?
No, actually, I don't know anybody in London. I don't even know anybody in Ontario.
Really?
Yeah. It was all, the only person I know in Canada lives in BC.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my
not
aunties,
very close. Not like you can
close.
just knock on their door.
Yeah, so making friends was like a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Because you get to know me before I'm really very free with you to have a conversation. Otherwise, I'm all by myself, and I like it that way. Like I mentioned before, I love my space.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the way here.
And making friends, it was a bit difficult and challenging. I could remember the first friend I met was an Igbo guy, because he comes from my place in the eastern part of Nigeria. His name is Nonso. So I met him and I started to
Was that at school?
At school, at Fanshawe.
Okay.
Yeah, I never made any friends, in the early stages of my stay here in Canada, apart from Fanshawe. So all of that came subsequently, but the first ones were in school. Yeah,
nice.
So making friends. Now I have a couple of friends who I can just, call or message at any time. And
they're your Canadian ride or dies. Yeah, that's good. And what about, we haven't really talked about your parents or, your influences from when you were young. Like, how does your family dynamic? Do they love that you're here in Canada? Do they miss you?
They love it that I'm here, and they miss me. I think I miss them more. And my parents had a lot of impact on me. I think who I am today, is as a result of my parents.
Are you more like your mom or your dad?
I'm more like my mom physically, but I'm more like my dad mentally and in terms of reasoning, because my dad is quality. That's one word I would define him. He is this man that loves to do things straightforward. There's no, zigzag, with things straightforward. Be honest, be truthful. Do not deceive people. Go straight to the point. So,
what does your dad do for work?
So my dad originally works with a radio broadcasting corporation in my Nigeria. So he was
cool.
At some point when he was younger, he was kind of a comedian, and he serves as MC for programs, different programs.
Goodness.
So he's
See, I knew nothing about Royce before sitting down here, and now I find out his dad was in radio broadcasting. Like, no wonder you were so keen to sit down on a mic.
Yeah, sure.
How long have you been doing things like this? Like, did he bring you into work with him?
No, never did.
That would have been cool.
He brought me into, his life, more when he moved into transition from broadcasting and office work, to business, because he retired as a businessman. So
nice. And what about your mom?
My mom is late now. I'm not sad to talk about that, because I'm happy for what she lived for and who she represented. She has a lot of impact in me. Also, she brought me, up so well to make sure that I, kind of grab, those stuff that makes you a man. Because I believe that, growing up as a human being, you need to have certain virtues, that define you, that, makes you who you are. You don't just need to be anyone else but you.
I love that.
So many things. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about
How long ago did she pass away?
I think she passed away in the year 2005, April 2005. To be precise. Yeah,
oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, it was after Mother's Sunday. After Mother's Sunday, a little sickness here and there. Yeah.
Wow. I've lost both of my parents too, so I know what it's like to
it's a big
miss
stuff.
to miss your
it's
parents.
A big stuff. Yeah, but now I have a stepmom though. She's doing great. Yeah.
Good. What about siblings? Do you have siblings?
Siblings, yeah, I have 7 of them. I'm the 8th child. I'm the last.
A baseball team. You're the youngest of 7?
I'm the youngest.
Oh my goodness.
8 in total though.
Oh, so there's 8 of you, but there's
4 boys, 4 girls. So I'm the.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And you're the baby.
Yeah, I'm the baby.
So
of the
how
house.
old is your oldest sibling?
My oldest is I think is 39.
39. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's wild. You don't hear of big families now as often anymore.
No.
Most people, because kids are so expensive, it's like you have to be selective in how many you're going to bring into this world. Mm-hmm. You can afford them all.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's come back to Ontario, and you were figuring things out when you and I first met. Mm-hmm. I remember you approaching me, and just like I said, there's these few faces that stand out to me every semester, and yours was one of them, because I could tell that you just wanted something. I don't think you knew exactly what it was that you were looking for or what it was that you wanted, but you just came to me so bright-eyed, and you're just like, I'd really like to talk to you about this. And do you remember we had the golfing thing on the last day? And you had never golfed before, had you?
No.
And you killed it.
And
you were so good.
Yeah, I think I got my energy from you, because if it were another professor, maybe I wouldn't have that energy. So I don't know where the energy came from.
Yeah, I was like, okay, he can golf, and he's eager to do something big with his life. I'm going to remember this guy. And now here we are, like almost a year later, and we're sitting here on the podcast. It's very cool. Very cool. Okay, so you're coming now to the end of your studies. What, if you had a magic ball or a crystal ball, and you could see into the future, what would your future career look like? What are you hoping for or dreaming for?
I have always dreamed big, so I want to end up big. Yeah, though I'm studying in this health pathway, I think I'm definitely gonna end up in business, going into business like my dad did towards the end of his career, and establish my own brand, because as my heritage, as an Igbo person, I come from the eastern part of Nigeria. It's part of our heritage, to go into business. That's our core value and what we represent. I don't see myself doing salary for a long time. So even though I'm doing academic school stuff, subsequently I think I'm gonna end up,
Do you know what kind of business? Will it have a healthcare focus, you think?
Fashion business, going into clothes, because that's the same line of business that my dad did. So I have a bunch of knowledge in the sales of
Talk to me about this, because I'm very interested in fashion too.
Yeah, footwears, women footwears, cosmetics, and all of that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so do you already, because your dad's already in business or has a business background, would he be able to help you establish that for yourself here? Would you stay in Canada? Like, what are your thoughts now? Are you
sure? I'll stay in Canada, because I think I've put so much energy that I wouldn't like to leave so soon. So I think and I understand more how the country works and the province works, because I was kind of lost when I arrived newly, so I can navigate more broadly on my own now, and do things better. Yeah.
So you think your dad would maybe be a little bit of a mentor for you? Could we say?
Of course, because I can call him anytime and ask for, advice here or there, and he'll be glad to help me. Yeah, nice. Always.
You're talking about a pretty huge undertaking, like to start a fashion clothing brand. So what would the vibe be? Would it be like casual clothes? Would it be hoodies and sweatsuit? Like what's
it will be spread out. We'll have hoodies and everything that has to do with fashion. I'm not only focusing on footwears, clothes, hoodies, everything fashion.
That's so cool.
Yeah, everything fashion.
I love clothes a lot. I love clothes and shoes a lot. I've always been very fascinated by fashion, and I specifically like vintagey stuff, but I also really like trendy stuff. So it's like a combination of vintage
and then I think that stuff. Clothing and fashion is another way for you to express yourself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you are feeling somehow and you don't even know how to express yourself. You just say, okay, go to your box or anything.
Yeah.
Find something and put on. That's the way you are explaining yourself. Yeah. Maybe you're having a bad day, or you just, maybe choosing the color you want. Yeah, I
totally agree.
I
have a really hard time packing for trips, because I say I don't know how I'm going to feel that day, so I need to pack double what I would normally pack just in case I want to wear something different, because I feel a different way. So I totally resonate with that. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so a fashion line, and what about family? Like, do you see yourself getting married and having kids and all that stuff?
Yeah. I think I should get married next year, though. That's what I said to myself, because a friend also is interested in my future. I think she's not too far away from me now.
Okay.
She's always want me to do something good for myself. So, and I have a girlfriend now.
Nice.
Though she's not in Canada, she's somewhere in the US. So we connect so much, and I'll see what the future looks. But everything is good now, and I'm looking forward to a great thing with her.
Okay, I have to ask you, what is it like being in a long distance relationship? I've done a long distance relationship before, but this was years ago, like pre-COVID long distance relationship. So how do you guys, are you in different time zones? Do you primarily just text and chat? Like, what does that look like?
Actually, she's 1 hour behind me.
Okay.
So the time zone is not really a big deal. And we text, we call, we try to connect as much as we can, because she's in school.
FaceTime and stuff?
Also, FaceTime. And it's
What's she studying?
She's doing public health. She's
okay.
And she's really doing good in school. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's not easy doing far distance relationship.
No, not
at
all.
It's not easy, because sometimes you come home and you really need someone to talk to, not just on phone or texting. Yeah. You just need to talk to someone in front of you and express your feeling. Sometimes we have burden, on our shoulder, and the only way you could, try to, relieve yourself is by talking to someone. And when
there's an energy exchange when you're with somebody in person.
And when you don't do that, you keep everything, the whole load by yourself. And
what do you think? This is something that I've been really interested in and consuming a lot of content on, the loneliness epidemic with men. When I say loneliness amongst men specifically, like you sound to me like you're a really in tune kind of, you're tapped into your emotions and, you know, you talk about wanting to talk about your feelings and that kind of thing. Yeah. Like it's not every day that you come across a guy that's that comfortable or confident in talking about those things. And that's probably a trait that you got from your mom and you know, your parents and that kind of thing. Sure. But when I say the loneliness epidemic for men, do you know what I'm referring to?
Do you want to throw more light on that?
Yeah. So men having comrades, like men having friends, men meeting together just to shoot the shit. You know, historically in the 80s and 90s, there was like third space where men would go to the pub and they would all go and, you know, be together, or they would go bowling, or they would go and sit in the workshop and they would spend hours, you know, just hanging out amongst men and being comrades together. Nowadays, in this day, because of technology and because we're connected through our phones, there's not as much of an opportunity, or at least what I'm sort of seeing in the media and on social media and stuff. It's like men don't have that sense of companionship with each other, and they lean on their partners, but because they don't share in those experiences with other men as much, men are more lonely today than they've ever been before, because they require that interaction and that exchange of testosterone, like going and playing sports or having like a football league or something like that. Any thoughts on that?
I think basically from my own thought, I will speak for myself.
Of course, I don't expect you to speak for anyone else.
I think men, you know, we try to stick, you know, together to ourselves, but not so much. Sometimes, like there's this, you know, common thing with women. They try to, you know, they are more free with themselves. They can even, you know, so much freedom that exists, you know, around them. But that does not really, you know, apply to us as men. We are kind of focused on some kind of rigid. I don't know if it's the right word. Yeah. So that kind of.
Or
thing.
that you think, like, what I think maybe sometimes is that men think that sharing your feelings or having experiences together is soft.
Yeah,
or like
sucks, and it's weird. And you know, some people, you know, takes the, you know, reasoning to another whole level, and you don't want to go into all that. So that's why, you know, we don't really, you know, do certain things when we are together. So it's best maybe you know, share some certain things, you know, with the opposite.
Do you see a benefit in having bro time? Like, do you see a benefit in spending time with dudes?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's the best conversation that could ever emanate. You know, men conversation, we crack you know,
jokes
ourselves
and
up, you know, say a whole lot of things, and we have fun and we discuss business, and that's time for business.
And ladies,
so,
like you talk about ladies, and you know, can vent about your girlfriend being crazy, or you know, you can talk about sports, or you can talk about it. I think there's just a different. We talked about energy exchange. Like I think there's just a different energy exchange when you're collaborating or when you're, you know, having fun with people of your same gender. And I just think that because we spend so much time glued to our phones, at least in my observation, it's like, I think that young people should be making a concerted effort to have that like hangout time in person with each other whenever you can have that. Especially if, you know, you're navigating this long distance relationship with your partner, you don't even have that in-person contact with the person that you love, right? Like that can be hard, and it can sometimes feel very lonely.
It's so hard. I must confess, it's so hard.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think, you know, life expectancy of women is
longer.
Higher. Yeah, it's longer than that of men, and one of the reasons is because we don't really share our burdens a whole lot of time, often, you know, as women do, because maybe let's say a husband and a wife living together, the wife has a bad day at workplace, you know, she comes back and say, hello, stuff like this happened, and this, you know, we don't often say that. We try to, you know, absorb everything, and that kind of reduces our life, because we think we are the men and we don't, you know, want to share, you know, certain things. Though some people share, but most times we don't really want to, you know, spit it all out.
Yeah. Have you heard of the physician? Maybe not, but he's been on all the podcasts. Dr. Gabor Mate. Have you heard of him? Gabor.
I don't think I've.
No.
Yeah.
He wrote a book called When the Body Says No.
Okay.
And the entire book talks about how if we as humans don't process our emotions and we don't deal with our anger and we don't deal with our trauma, that all of those things can actually manifest in disease in our bodies?
I think so, because I'm one person that is on top of my emotions, my temperament. I think I can't even remember any time sad or angry or mad at someone. I'm always on top of my emotions, and I know the best way to handle myself at every given point in time, and that's
not everybody is like you.
No, not everybody.
And so do you think that there could be a correlation between people who don't process their emotions, who aren't on top of their emotions? Do you think that that could in turn manifest into disease like cancer and other autoimmune diseases? Like, do you think our emotions are attached to our physiology, Mr. Science Guy?
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think maybe I'll go with 4. Yeah, because sometimes whatever you don't say out, it has a way of, staying with
brewing within.
Yeah, but the moment you spit it out, it goes and you forget that. You easily forget when you say something or when you, try to, address something. But when you keep it up by yourself, it stays with you, and it could form anything, even more than cancer.
Well, the reason why I say that is because I have, with my own father, like I remember never really seeing him cry. Like, and my father died from, speaking, because we both have parents that have passed on. Like, my father died from Lou Gehrig's disease, which is easily one of the most horrible diseases. And I always, in some of his last years, I always said to him, I was like, do you think that if you had done things differently, or you think if you had lived differently, that this would have happened to you? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know if it would have happened to me. We never really confirmed if it was genetic or not. I spend a lot of time reflecting on like how we process things that we go through in our lives, and how those emotions, impact us in the long term, and, how, every single person can go through a traumatic experience and everybody could process it differently, right?
Yeah, sure.
This is something that I'm really interested in understanding. I don't know, just a fascination of mine. We will be back after a short break. We're just going to take a little moment, but we will be back in about 5 seconds. See you soon. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for the break. We appreciate it. So, Royce, on the All of You podcast, we do a couple of segments.
Okay.
And the segments will actually bring us, I'll pull more out of you through the segments. So the first segment are the talking point cards. You can see here, there's generation, resilience, and support. So which theme appeals to you? Support, resilience, or generations?
Resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Fire this one up. Okay, so within resilience, there are 5 categories. The first one is getting to know you, goal setting, self-care, connected relationships, or self-reflection. Which one appeals to you? Want me to repeat them again?
Yeah.
Getting to know you, goal setting, self-care, connected relationships, or self-reflection?
Oh, I think self-reflection.
Self-reflection. All right. Purple. Okay, I'm going to pull one and you pull one. I'm going to ask you first. Just this front page. Yeah, front one right there. Perfect. All right. I'll ask you first.
Okay.
First one. Ooh. What's something that worries you right now? What's something that worries you that's on your mind right now?
Something that is worrying me right now is the fact that there is some kind of uncertainties, around me, around my life now, around my.
Because you're coming up to graduate.
Yeah, coming up to graduate. So many things that has to be unraveled, especially the pathway, to PR now. That's so much headache,
on my
head.
Gosh.
And sometimes, when I want to take my mind off there, I see myself, kind of plunging into that. So yes, that's kind of something that's bothering me right now.
The uncertainty, the fear of the unknown. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm right there with you. I have no idea what my future looks like either. So I think I would say the same. The fear of what the future has in store. But I hear that we shouldn't be afraid, because whatever is meant for us is already in the stars.
Yeah, sure.
And no matter how hard we try to control it,
Yeah.
whatever will be, right? We just have to keep putting our best foot forward and hoping for the best. What's the saying? praying for the best, hoping for the worst, something like that.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna hope for the best no matter what.
Sure.
All right,
and the best is gonna come.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so my question is, have you ever failed at something?
Have I ever failed?
At something, and what happened?
I failed at 100 billion million things.
Okay, let's hear that. Maybe you could mention a few.
Maybe I'll mention a few, yeah. One thing I will say about failure is that failure for me has always resulted in the opportunity to grow.
Okay.
When you fail at something, it's a lesson.
Sure.
When you fail at something, you learn something from that failure. So I try not, sometimes I can sit in my feels and think, man, there's something wrong with me, or why couldn't I do that, or other people can do that, but I can't. Like, sometimes I will get in my head about that. I think I've learned, especially in the last couple of years, I've gone through a lot of growth and a lot of transformation in the last couple of years.
Okay.
I don't want to ever look back at things that I failed at in my life and regret those failures or feel bad about those failures, because I truly feel like every single time my perception felt like I was failing at something, I was actually leveling up.
Yeah, sure. And really, we don't need to, look at the past or keep so much emotions with the past. Each time you fail, just move forward.
Yeah,
that's the way
it's an opportunity to take a good hard look at yourself. And another thing is, sometimes failure and rejection kind of go hand in hand. Like, say you don't get a job, or you start a project, but it doesn't turn out to be what you thought it was going to be. In my mind, I think that rejection is protection.
Yeah,
so rejection is protection, meaning you were rejected from that thing because it wasn't meant for you.
Yeah.
Or
definitely.
you failed. And I think failure is also based off of your perspective or your perception of failure, right?
Sure.
Because we are our own worst critics. We're very hard on ourselves.
Sure.
So I might seemingly think that I failed at someone, but another person looking in on my circumstance might think, holy shit, she did that.
Yeah.
She didn't fail. Like, she at least tried.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I'm trying to wrap my brain around is, and as I've learned on the car ride here, there are a lot of people paying attention to you, us, everybody. Like, you never know who is paying attention to you. So have I failed at things? Abso-freaking-lutely, I have failed at things. Would I tell you for 1 second that I regret those experiences or that I'm sad about those experiences? No.
Maybe no.
Because every single one of those things has been laying the foundation for one thing, for the next thing, for the next thing, for the next thing. Sure. I firmly believe that everything that is meant to be for us will stay. Okay. Things that are meant to be in our life will stay.
Sure.
And things that are not meant to be in our life will
go away.
And every single thing that happens to us is a season of our life. Seasons come and go, things change, and we have to be fluid, and we have to be able to move through those things. As hard as it can be in the moment when you're sinking into that pit of despair, like, oh, I'm a failure. And, like, as hard as those moments can be, they pass.
Yeah, they pass.
The only way...
And the moment you think about them, you know it was a short while.
Yeah.
It wasn't even long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A short period of time can pass, and I often have found myself as of late thinking, okay, that's why that happened. That's why that happened. That's why this person was there. That's why this failure or this perceived failure occurred. Yeah. That's a really good one.
Yeah, sure.
Very good question. All right. So the next segment that we have is the olive and the pit. All right. So the olive and the pit is, you talk about, if you take a look at your, well, it's the 1st of March. So let's say February. In the month of February, what was your olive, meaning what was the best thing that happened to you in the month of February? And then the pit is like the pits, like, oh, the crappiest thing that happened to you. So what was the olive in February and what was the pit in February?
Okay, I would like to mention that it will always be the best thing that happens to me. The fact that I'm still alive, because waking up every day, each morning, it's a hope, in disguise, because God has something in stock for you, something good for you. And coming into February, I had a whole lot of things to achieve, like to renew my passport, to do an extension of my study permit, and to get a license, a driver's license. So I think I achieved.
License. Yeah, that's a lot.
I achieved all of that in February. So did you
have to do your driver's test in the snow?
No, not that one.
Oh my goodness!
The first one
like imagine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did not really have a bad time in February. Yeah, the only thing I could say is that I always hope to have $1 billion in my account, and that's the only thing I don't.
Yeah, every time I check, it's not. They haven't deposited it yet. I don't have that $1 billion yet either.
Yeah. And I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, or a money tree. I just need a money tree in my backyard. I totally get that. Very good. What about my olive in the pit? My olive in the pit for February. February has been a really good month, actually. Like, I have had a lot of opportunity. I've met a lot of cool people. I attended a couple of networking events, pitched the podcast to a network this month, like lots of good things. But I would say this sort of pit that kind of remains in my mind is just around, again, that uncertainty. Uncertainty about the future of Olive Branch, uncertainty about the future of the podcast, uncertainty about the future of my career, uncertainty about like literally how I'm going to pay my bills in a couple months. Like, even though there's so much good happening, there's so many olives. The pit, sometimes I find myself fixating on, and I'm trying really, really hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to,
navigate through
that. It's very difficult. And as we've talked about, like, I have a lot of other kind of things going on behind the scenes that I've been working on for several months and whatnot. So I don't know. I think taking the good with the bad, happy with the sad, all of that. It's all part of the experience, right?
All part of our experiences.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a few weeks away from graduating. What are your sort of goals for the next 6 weeks as you're like wrapping up? Do you have your capstone?
I have my capstone.
What's your capstone project on?
We are working with a pharmacy.
Yeah, okay.
Home health care. We are working with UREC. Actually, it's a pharmacy in Wellington, London.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've really, dug deep, into their business, and we're trying to give them a potential, solution to some of the, lapses that we foresee, that is happening, in their facility. So, yeah. We're into that, and hopefully we'll finish soon.
You will finish soon. Like, you're literally going to blink your eyes and the semester is going to be over.
All done.
And then you'll be walking across the stage in June. Is that when you do convocation is in June?
Yeah, I think it's in June. It comes up in June.
Cool. Will your dad and your stepmom come here to watch you walk?
I'm looking to invite my siblings. Maybe
all 7 of them?
Maybe 2 of them, or maybe my stepmom, Nice. I'm looking to invite them. Hopefully, let's see how that goes.
Cool. Please text me and let me know when your convocation is, because I'm not able to make all of them. Obviously, I've been teaching for 8 years, so I can't make every convocation. I try to make as many of them as I can, but
I'll be happy.
I would make a concerted effort. I would make a concerted effort to attend your stage walk. Yeah, that's cool. I think we get to wear gowns and like stand up at the front and stuff too, and like see you walk off the stage.
Yeah, so, sure. That would be fun. That's an amazing feeling. I'm looking forward to that.
Very good. And then maybe this summer we'll have to go golfing.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Awesome. Well, everybody, this has been the All of You podcast. Thank you so much, Royce.
Thank you.
For coming all the way from London, Ontario to be here on the pod.
It's my pleasure.
Really great.
Thank you so much.
We will be back with another episode next week, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. I'm supposed to tell you to like and subscribe and share and comment and hit that bell notification. And if you're on Spotify, put a comment on Spotify as well. I didn't realize this, but we have a ton of you following us over there in audio podcast land. So thank you for being here, everybody. This is the All of You podcast. We'll extend the olive branch again with you very soon. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers. Yeah, we did it.